Hi, this is Sally, and I have the lovely Lyndy Jewell with us today, and we're talking about sparking your well-being. And Lyndy is a wonderful, warm spirit. She is a medium, spiritual mentor, gives some really down-to-earth guidance, some woo-woo stuff, as she likes to call it, and maybe occasionally sneaks a little swear word in, which is really refreshing because, you know, that's life. But today, Lyndy, I'd love to hand over to you and ask you, because you're the expert in this field, about your tips for well-being, I guess, with intuition, and what ideas do you have about that?
Yeah, thanks, Sally. Thanks so much for having me today. I love kind of incorporating intuition and guidance and all those things into the well-being. I think that there's a big focus on well-being, looking after yourself physically, mentally, and emotional. But whenever I'm working with someone intuitively, I always see spiritual as kind of that fourth pillar with regard to that. And honestly, spiritual can be whatever the fuck you want it to. Sorry, language warning. Whatever you want it to be, because it's whatever you believe in. It's whatever your connection is to faith and hope and trust and all those beautiful things. So you may not consider it a particular religion, but it really is just kind of tuning into your own heart connection to whatever's out there, whatever floats your boat. So I love helping people kind of flourish in that area, like expanding their intuition and their guidance. I love running intuitive development workshops and helping people tune into their stuff. I find that, this is the kind of topic we could talk about for days, and I love it and I get excited. So please stop me if I ramble. But I just think that I always see, so I see clients for readings and healings, but often they turn into the same thing. So a reading could be, what's coming up for the future, but that's always got a little element of clearing out the shit from the past, because we do tend to drag energy forward, and that energy is not always awesome. Doesn't mean it's all crap, but it's not always awesome. So if we can kind of untangle that and put us in a place where we can be the most open and the clearest and have the most sort of energetic space around us, so we're not impacted by everything that's going on around us, the more space you have, the more able you are to really connect into that sense of well-being and growth and, kind of confidence, I guess, as well. And then, yeah, everything else will kind of, I just feel like everything falls into place together. You can be super physically fit, but if mentally you're not right, then what's the fucking point? Like, it just doesn't work. And I think it's the same with the four of them. I just think that they are all equally important, and we need to give each of them the same amount of credit and the same amount of time.
Thank you, Lyndy. That's really wonderful, offering and guidance. And I just find that, personally, that intuitive guidance is really helpful, particularly from someone else when our thinking's all tangled. There's a whole lot of, I guess, what I'd like to call roadblocks that come up. And they may be something that we don't see, but they may just be our own thinking getting in the way. So I find your guidance really helpful to kind of navigate through that and really help focus on our own strengths as well. But you come from a really positive way of thinking and an approach that really builds on people's capacity, I guess, which is wonderful, which doesn't always happen in the woo-woo world, I've got to say. So hat off to you, and so many blessings to you, because that's a real rare gift. So thank you. I mean, I guess, what sort of things would you say would be helpful for people to be able to tap into the intuition if they can't come and see you? Is there a practice or something that they could do?
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much stuff we can do. And this is the thing, like, obviously I've been doing all this woo-woo stuff for a while, and you can take it as seriously and as dramatically as you like, or you can put that really nice, light, bright, soft edge on it, which is what the approach that I prefer to take, to be honest. Less fear-based, I think, really is the key, but implementing that in your own life can be tricky. And if you're kind of just starting to dip your toe into this kind of, intuitive wellness kind of space, it can be tricky, because I think that people expect it to be a little bit like Weekend at Bernie's, where, a dead person pops up and says, here's your answer. It's really not like that. It really often is as much as a gut feeling, or, a tingle on your skin, or a feeling of, sometimes, for example, like when I'm talking about intuition in general, one of the things, if my ear's itchy, it's a message to listen. But that's the way it works for me. For you, it might be ringing in your ears. It might be a sound, a particular sound that pops into your head or whatever. There's a lot of different ways to get your intuition. With regard to help you using it to help with wellness, I think that the problem that you have, it's a little bit of a catch-22 situation, is that when we get anxious or start overthinking things and things get really busy in our heads, the intuitive guidance is kind of trying to come in this way, but it's so messy in here that it has a real amount of trouble to get through. So you've got to remember, though, there's an absolute enormous amount of forgiveness that you have to give to yourself. So use that word however you like. But if you think about it, like when you're in your kind of worst space or in a bad space, or, you know, wellness is a little bit hard to find, it's like everything that is pissing you off, everything that is in your face or stressful or whatever, it's like it's here. It's right in your face. So how are you supposed to get a clear perspective of that? It can be very, very difficult. So that's why when people say, you know, go for a walk, go for a jog, meditate, blah, 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 all of those things, like, I think the word meditate's a little bit overused, because meditate is suggesting to people that, you know, empty your mind. Like, how the fuck are you supposed to do that? I just think that's a crazy thing. My meditation is walking. I'm lucky enough to live up in the beautiful Dandenong Ranges. So for me, a walk is trees and birds, but you don't need that. You can go for a walk and be looking at, you know, marveling at the grass that grows out of the concrete. Like, how does it even do that? Like, that's a fair old miracle right there. But, you know, whatever you can get, or it's listening to your favorite music, or putting yourself in a place where this can start to be here, where you can start going, oh, I've been overthinking that shit again, and I'm choosing to stop. But when it's here, very difficult for you to do that. So you've really got to be nice to yourself, that kindness to you. If you want to take it a step further, I guess one of my favorites is to feel this, and I get all tingly just thinking about it, but the way I see it, and you've always got to run all this stuff through your own filter. You know, put this in words that work in your head and in your heart and with your intuition. I think that's really important. But I tend to see people, I just feel like we have a path and you kind of can't fuck it up. So don't worry about going wrong. You just, are you in the middle of it, or are you towards the edge? If you're towards the edge, it's a bit cold and dark out there. Whereas if you try and bring yourself back to the center where it's bright and light and it's quite obvious where you've got to go, then yay, like you are always going to end up where you need to be. So having that confidence, that faith, that trust that you can't get this wrong. This is your life. So everybody else's opinion is irrelevant. What do you want to do? What lights you up? We very rarely are brave enough to actually follow that stuff, because we've been given so many reasons why we shouldn't. And there's all this evidence in the past of why I tried this and it didn't work and blah, blah, blah. So pushing past that can be tricky. But if you're walking on that middle bit of your path and you are feeling the lightest and brightest you can be from your core, it's almost like you radiate light out, and you know, it's like a magnet. It's like you can't go wrong. So it doesn't mean things won't go wrong, but you can't go wrong. So shit will happen around you still, but it just is, you have this ability to just be resilient and keep going and have another go. So looking after your own internal light by removing yourself from situations if you need to, stopping and resetting, grabbing that cup of tea, remembering the self-care from the physical, mental and emotional aspects are going to help you put yourself in a good spot spiritually as well. So, you know, there's so many different ways we can do that.
Wonderful, down-to-earth advice. And as you were talking, I was thinking, yes, nature. That's why I love nature so much. I love getting out in nature. It reminds me of the cycles of nature. It reminds me that it'll pass, but also some things are a mystery and you've just got to kind of detach and let go a little bit. Kindness, self-compassion, the hardest lesson ever that we just have to keep on trying to get, you know. And that whole thing is like, we were born with this life. No one else has been born with this life. So we haven't got a roadmap, really. Like, we've just got to keep going and stumble and get up. And that thing of that you're talking about, resilience, like that is what's important in this day and age right now. You know, we can get stressed out, we can get pissed off, we can, you know, close in, whatever. But if we have that resilience, then we can get up again. You know, I once heard this beautiful speaker who had a disability and had none of their limbs. And they basically said that I never give up. I just keep on getting up. And I was like, okay, that's resilience. That's absolutely phenomenal. So thank you for reminding. And I know that everyone listening to this is going to be going, oh, yeah, okay. So thank you. So, Lyndy, have you got any more advice about tuning into your own intuition?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, first of all, I want to remind everybody that I honestly, truly believe that everybody is intuitive, and you will have been using it your whole freaking life and not even realized. So that's why I love when I run my intuitive development courses. I love that people come away with their minds blown at what they have accomplished, because we can go off and learn. And look, there's so many different modalities and so many different people you can learn from. I would highly recommend that if you do choose to kind of up level in any way, you make sure you're choosing someone who's teaching you how to work your way, not learning this thing and these are the rules and these are the boundaries and this is a thing and that's a, like that will kind of do your head in a little bit, because there will be part of you going, nah, that doesn't work for me. And you'll be told, no, that's the only way to do it. So really trusting your own, again, trusting your gut. But then how do you do that when you haven't, it's not something you've encouraged in the past? So I guess, always looking at things from different angles and remembering your awesomeness. There really is, you are an incredible, sparkly miracle. You really are, every single one of you. So when you start to recognize that and go, oh, I am special, like we get a bit embarrassed about the fact that we're special and that we've got this magnificence about us, but we all do. And it's, even in the people that are total assholes and living their worst life, like there's still the fact that they're upright and breathing is still a miracle. So seeing that in everyone and going, well, that's the path they're taking, and being able to step back rather than being dragged into their vortex of shit, I think is really, really helpful for you to go, well, I'm keeping my awesomeness to myself. They're not getting any. That's fine. That's totally fine. But then recognizing as well that, yeah, you're awesome. Yeah, you're a miracle. Yes, there's intuition and guidance everywhere and you can tap into it. But it's not going to be a bright, stepping into it, deciding that you're going to be intuitive doesn't make life easy. It doesn't stop any of the sort of dumb shit coming at you. You're still going to get a flat tire, or you're still going to miss the bus, or, there's all that stuff still happens, but you can just detach yourself from it enough to go, well, maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe I needed to slow down. Maybe it's kept me here so I could see that particular number plate with the triple numbers on it. And that gives me reassurance that my angels and guides are with me, or whatever floats your boat there. Or you find a feather. I love when I'm going to the supermarket, particularly, well, back in the day when we could shop, and there's the car park would be busy, and I would listen and go, oh, okay, we're parking over here today. I'd listen to the guidance there, and I'd park, and I would always see a feather. It's always like, oh, thank you. I got the parking space and I saw your message. Thank you. So parking probably miles away from where I wanted to, but that listening, there's usually a little sign. So for some people, it'll be a feather. For some, it'll be a color or a number or a song or something. All those little things matter. All those little synchronicities are far more relevant than you've probably been thinking in the past. So don't dismiss those things. I have a rule that if I notice something that seems to be, maybe could be, who knows, a little sign from spirit or whatever you believe in, I always give a thank you. So if there's no one around, I will literally do this, thank you. But if they're somewhere crowded, I don't want to be taken away and put in a padded cell. So I just do a little thank you in my head. And to be honest, I don't know who I'm sending that to, but I know that they know that I'm sending it. So that trust that message is going through and just enhancing the connection that we have. So don't complicate it with needing to see your angels and guides. I've been doing this for a long time. I've got thousands and thousands of clients, and I still don't necessarily see faces. Sometimes I will, but it's not, I think that we get too bogged down in the detail of intuition. And I think that if you go with the flow with it as much as you can, see the really seemingly insignificant messages and confirmations, they're the big ones. They really are the big ticket items. So let yourself go with that. Do your breathing whenever you can. Notice when your chest is tight. Take a breath, let it out, and then keep going. That's what you would do, right? So it's almost like that with your intuition as well. Sometimes you'll notice things more intensely, sometimes you won't, and that's okay. But just being as guided as you can be and accepting that whatever does cross your path, there's something in it for you. It doesn't matter how deep that shit is or how traumatic, there will be something in it for you. You just have to trust that at some point that's coming and you will see it. So it's a tricky one, absolutely. But once you get in the groove of it, honestly, the amount of stress and tension it's going to remove from you is phenomenal. And that's a real key to wellness.
Lyndy, as you were thinking and as you were talking, rather, I was thinking that whole thing of giving thanks, you don't know who it's going to. Gratitude, I found, for me, works miracles.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a religious way. I just mean that things kind of float together or come together that I wasn't expecting. But I would love your ideas, I guess, on gratitude, or what you'd like to share about gratitude, because I'm sure you've got a lot to share.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. I think gratitude's such a massive sort of pivotal thing with regard to spirituality or intuition or whatever you want to call it, but also overall wellness and keeping ourselves balanced and centered and calmed and aligned and all of those things. Gratitude, and it's a funny thing because I love it's probably going to be a little bit of a weird concept unless you're a little bit already in the woo-woo world, but gratitude goes in both directions. So along your timeline. So if we talk about like looking at things in the past and going, actually, as a kid, I fell off the bike and hurt my knee, and I was really shitty that no one stopped and helped me. But now that I look back, I go, you know what? That really pissed me off. And I had a sense of resilience in that I got myself up, scraped myself up and kept going. And now I find that I'm able to do that with other situations as well. Or there was a job that I had that was extraordinarily stressful. It was a horrible bullying situation where, I ended up being sort of forced out. And this would be going back probably 10 years. And now I look back at it and go, oh, thank God. If they hadn't been, because communication still goes faulty there. It changed in a couple of days, the attitude to the way I work, whatever. And anyway, but I look back now and go, if those people had kept being nice and everything had been smooth sailing, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. I would absolutely have worked that job until I died because I was quite happy there. I was mediocre happy there, and that was enough at the time. So now I can look back and go, oh, thank you, whoever set that up, got that rolling, put me in this terrible position, because now I'm doing a job where I help people every day. Every day I'm doing something that contributes to people, that lights them up, that reminds them that they're bloody brilliant, and puts them, clears the path for them as well, because then they're going to be able to do probably something similar, maybe not in the same format, maybe not in the same way at all that I do it, but, contribute in a way that creates ripple effects, that creates other ripple effects. So that sense of gratitude for what was, even though it was shit at the time, I can have that gratitude still to this day. And I reckon I will until the day I die. That there was thank God they were so mean and put me where I am now. But I think gratitude as well for one of the ones that I do actually, not all the time, because I'm still, a middle-aged woman battling with body issues just like everybody else. But every now and then I'll be reminded to be grateful for my body, for the fact that it moves me around, for the fact that it doesn't matter what shape it is, it's doing its best with what I'm shoving into it. And all those, there's so many different aspects of gratitude. So gratitude to yourself, gratitude to your angels and guides or whatever the fuck you believe in for, whatever guidance that you feel you're getting. Gratitude to the people that have helped you, either in the past or the ones that will in the future. All of that really helps you be more aligned, and coming back to that thing I said earlier about being in the middle of your path. It just helps you be a lighter, brighter, I guess, more magnetically aligned, energetically aligned, whatever frequency aligned, whatever word you want to use, to that vibrancy that is available to you. Gratitude is such a beautiful high vibe feeling. It's really acknowledged by angels, guides, whoever we talk to, excuse me. And it, love, gratitude, all those beautiful things. We can't be in that space all the time though. So don't feel like if you crack it at something that didn't go well, don't go, oh no, now I've stuffed up gratitude and this is terrible and I'm a bad human. No, you're just a fucking human. Like everybody, we're going to get it wrong. We're going to stuff it up. We're going to have experiences that we don't like and we are going to react to. Beautiful. But then again, we get up, dust ourselves off and go, right, what's the next step? Where am I going now? What's my choice today? And, gratitude, connecting with choices, connecting with opportunities, connecting with recognition of what you are capable of, and again, your own magnificence. I think it just brings everything together in a beautiful, gentle way. So that instead of your energy being like this all the time and, oh my God, where am I going? And it's so confused and overthinking and emotionally drained, and everything starts to come into alignment, and you suddenly just feel better about being you. And that's what we want. We just want you to recognize your awesomeness and feel better about being you.
So much wonderful information and so much that we can take into our being and practice and keep on practicing, because like you said, it's, you know, sometimes we get stuck in our funk, whatever it is, and it is having gratitude for those things that aren't obvious, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a really good point, Sally, too, is that practice means you don't get it right every time. Expect to get it wrong and then just have another go. That's perfectly fine. Yeah.
It's been wonderful talking to you, Lyndy. As always, you're a breath of fresh air. And I think I said before, and if I didn't, aptly name, you know, Lyndy Jewell. You bring a sparkle to everyone's day. So thank you so much. And thank you for being a guest on Sparking Your Wellbeing, Life is Org AU YouTube channel. And Lyndy, how do we get in contact with you?
Okay, so I'm on the socials. I'm on Facebook at Lyndy Jewell Healing. Instagram is Lyndy Jewell Psychic Medium. And you can have a look at my website, which is lyndyjewell.com.au.
Awesome. All the description will be down below on the YouTube description. So please have a look at that. It's been an absolute pleasure for me. And I'm sure everyone listening is just all the richer for it. So thank you so much. And huge love to you. You're an amazing woman, phenomenal human being, and you bring so much love and light to the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for creating this space where we can come and learn these things. I think it's a beautiful thing to do.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye,
see you later.
everyone.